Human rights activist Omoyele Sowore has listed 15 critical demands from Nigerians as part of the upcoming Days of Rage protest. The protest tagged #EndBadGovernance in Nigeria aims to address the country's governance challenges. According to Sowore, a former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, the demands were compiled from inputs received from Nigerians participating in the #EndBadGovernance in Nigeria campaign. The demands are directed at President Bola Tinubu's administration and are considered non-negotiable by the protesters. The Days of Rage protest, scheduled for August 2024, have been preceded by the demands published by Sowore on his X account. The 15 demands from Nigerians include a call for the President Tinubu administration to do the following. 1. Scrap the 1999 Constitution and replace it with a people-made constitution for the Federal Republic of Nigeria through a sovereign national conference immediately followed by a national referendum. 2. Thus the Senate arm of the Nigerian legislative system, keep the House of Representatives and make lawmaking a part-time endeavor. 3. Pay Nigerian workers a minimum wage of nothing less than 250,000 naira monthly. 4. Invest heavily in education and give Nigerian students grants, not loans. Aggressively pursue free and compulsory education for children across Nigeria. 5. Release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally and demilitarize the Southeast. All #EndSARS and political detainees must be also released and compensated. 6. Renationalize publicly owned enterprises sold to government officials and cronies. 7. Reinstate a corruption-free subsidy regime to reduce hunger, starvation, and multidimensional poverty. 8. Probe past and present Nigerian leaders who have looted the treasury, recover their loot and deposit it in a special account to fund education, healthcare, and infrastructure. 9. Restructuring of Nigeria to accommodate Nigeria's diversity, resource control, decentralization, and regional development. 10. End banditry, terrorism, and violent crimes, reforms of security agencies to stop continuous human rights violation and duplication of security agencies and enhance the fiscal security of Nigerian citizens. 11. Establish a special energy fund immediately to drive massive corruption-free power sector development. 12. Immediate reconstitution of Nigerian electoral body INEC to remove corrupt individuals and partisan hacks appointed to manipulate elections. 13. Massive investment in public works and industrialization will help employ Nigeria's teeming youths. 14. Massive shake-up in the Nigerian judiciary to remove cabals of corrupt generations of judges and judicial officers that continue denying everyday citizens access to real justice. And 15. Diaspora voting. Honorable Lance, we'll deal with the first demand, and that is scrap the 1999 Constitution and replace it with a people-made constitution for the Federal Republic of Nigeria through a sovereign national conference, immediately followed by a national referendum.
Choma, thank you very much. On this particular issue, they said, whoever's house is on fire, don't go hunting. And today, the economic bottleneck and challenges that Nigerians are facing, as a matter of fact, has made it very clear that Nigeria is boiling. Just like one of my respected elder statesmen, distinguished Senator Ali Ndume, said, that people are angry. Nigerians are angry. For those who don't know what is happening on social media, I follow up on most of these things. Sometimes when I just peruse through my X handle, believe me, I am very, very scared of what may become of this state if this particular protest go on. But now, narrowing it down to the request they made.
The first demand.
The first demand, which is calling for scrapping the 1999 Constitution as amended.
It with people-made constitution.
The truth is that the 1999 Constitution as amended was a constitution established for Nigerians by the former military leadership of this country. And you will understand that that particular constitution, in as much as that is the constitution I hold at high esteem, because the constitution of a community or a society, is what gives them right to certain privileges and others. The 1999 Constitution, if not amended to the best way possible whereby it becomes people-friendly, by now, considering that our democracy has moved from 1999 to 2024, which is about 20-something years, I think that there is need for us to have a new constitution. It is overdue. It is overdue for the National Assembly, which goes across the 347 members of the Federal House of Rep and the 108 senators, to come together and give Nigerians a real constitution that is people-friendly, that is democratic. Because just like I stated in some of different forums that I've spoken with you, the 1999 Constitution gave so much powers to most of the executive arm of the Nigerian electorate. You understand me? Those who are in power. So those who are in the executive arm of government, those who are in power. Right. Forgive me for that particular error. So, and there is need for us to look at the things that they are doing, the powers that they have, and see how to cushion them. Because if you also remember, our late president of blessed memory, President Omar Musa Yar'Adua, made effort that even though he didn't want to remove the constitution, he wanted to cut down some of the privileges that are enshrined in the 1999 Constitution, both for the executive arm and for other arms of the government, especially within the immunity clause. Because you will agree with me today, Choma, that if not for the immunity clause on the governors and the presidents, so many of these our former head of states and presidents ought to be questioned after they leave office, even while they are in office. Take for instance, when President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was in office, we questioned a lot of abnormalities that happened within the Ministry of Petroleum. We questioned a lot of abnormalities that happened within the Ministry of Education. But in the time of President Muhammadu Buhari, there were a lot of abnormalities within the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, which were never questioned. There were a lot of misappropriation that happened in different ministries that were not questioned. So I think that, Mr. President, as a true Democrat, who you have always been, if you're hearing me, which I know you will, there is need for the 1999 Constitution, if not amended to the best interest of the people, for us to have a new constitution that is pro-people.
Are you proposing an amendment of the Constitution, or are you proposing that the Constitution be scrapped and a new Constitution, like they are demanding, a people-made Constitution, come up?
Well,
which one are you proposing? Amendment of the Constitution, or scrapping the Constitution? And
as a parliamentarian who have also studied the Constitution very well, if you look at what Section 1 of the Constitution said based on introduction, it said, as I, sitting here in your studio, as a member of the Nigerian public, under one God, indissoluble, with that word, I cannot alter anything contrary to the Constitution, but I can only appeal that because when you say scrapping the Constitution, you cannot just scrap the Constitution because of the rigidity of the 1999 Constitution, the powers therein. You can't scrap it, but it could be altered to a level. It could be amended to, give people the fair hearing. But if it's can also be altered the same way to a level. It can also, when there is a referendum, it can also, you know, be removed, and a new constitution can be introduced to Nigerian people. Right.
Now, to a large extent, you feel this can, to a large extent, quell some of the crisis. We are having the constitutional crisis as well, because when you look at it critically, I mean, you said you have studied the Constitution very, very well.
Yes.
Now you have talked about the lacuna, or there's so much arrogation of power to the executive arm of government. How about the independence of other arms of government, for example, the judiciary? Because the judiciary, when you look at it critically, is not even independent, as it were, because the president has a hand in the appointments.
Choma, I really love...
So that, to a large extent, even at the state level, it is still the governor.
Absolutely, that appoints the CJ, who becomes the CJ. Exactly. So no, you know, this is the reason why I said, Abinishu, if you remember, on different fora that we've been on your TV, when there was a day you asked me a question, if the leading political party have influence in our judiciary, and you had my submission on that particular subject, because the 1999 Constitution gave the executive arm of the government certain powers superseding other arms of the government, which has also reduced the ability of most of these other arms of government, not just only to function, but for there to be equitable checks and balances. Because, you know, in a democratic rule, you know, the reason why we have three arms of government is because for there to be checks and balances. In a place whereby the executive arm of the government fails, the legislative arm of the government ought to query them. Because part of the things I wanted to move as a motion, as a bill when I'm in the house, is that most of these executive governors and presidents, when they are entitled to all their allocations, their federal allocations, their statutory funding, and yet they owe people salary, that ought not to be so. And yet they are not tried in court.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Land, for coming. It's always a pleasure having you on Open Conversation.
Thank you.